Najini wana sauti, karibuni to another great episode of the Voice KE podcast. And today we are here at the World Agroforestry, where we are here to celebrate the Green Landscape Forum. We are doing an engagement about greening landscapes, and today I have an amazing guest who she is in that field, and she is all about stopping ecocide, and she's going to tell us about what is stopping ecocide. So let me welcome our beautiful guest, that is Derby. How are you, Derby?
Oh, hi, how are you?
How are you? Hola. Hizo salamu za wapi za hola?
Kiespanya.
Ni Kiespanya? Mimi najuaga tu adios muchachos. Zio hata ninamaliziaga tu na hayo na wanajua hivyo. And Spanish is so difficult. Do you know Spanish?
Yes.
You know Spanish?
Yes, hablo español.
Yeah. Tell me, how do you say how are you?
¿Cómo estás?
¿Cómo estás? And then you respond with?
Bien.
Bien. Bien,
Bien means good.
Bien, the word of the musician.
Stop being controversial. Let's get to ecocide.
It's okay. Sawa basi. So bien.
Was not part of the story.
The conversation. Yeah. So Derby, tell us your beautiful names.
My name is Derby Buyaki, and I am passionate about the environment. Ideally, I started things as a tree planter, so I plant trees across the world.
Nice.
And I have a project that's kind of huge, and it's in 6 of the 7 continents as of now.
Wow.
But that's how I ideally got into ecocide, because if we're all trying to save Earth in whichever form, through advocacy or planting trees or cleaning up plastic in the ocean, stuff like that, how comes there's no law that says the opposite is wrong? So the fact that we can plant trees and someone comes and cuts them down and it's still legal for them to do that, that's something that brought me to the interest of ecocide. So
that's why the name ecocide.
So
out of the word?
No,
you're not going there.
It's not related to genocide, but I use it to explain, like, if you know genocide, then ecocide is for environment.
It's for environment, for the layman terms. Yeah.
So the definition is mass environmental damage. So sometimes we say environment, but we also say ecosystems, because the air is also an ecosystem, the ocean, the trees. So ecosystems that are being destroyed in large scale is legal. You know, the companies. This one you cut out. Like, can I mention companies?
Yeah, because I want to hold them to account. So if they're doing something wrong, why not?
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyways, so they're like companies that legally extinct species. We know what's happening in Congo already, and in Nigeria with the oil sagas that Shell has been having, and the court cases it has evaded.
A lot.
So up to now, doing those things for them is illegal. They can't go to court for that and be liable criminally, even though they're committing crimes that are something I spoke with some lady somewhere, that these crimes actually cause murder, even if it's like later on in life, if they die of cancer because of these oils in their food and their air. You still killed them, not instantaneously, but you killed them 20 years on. And this is still legal for you to commit such crimes. So that's why we're quite big on advocating for people to speak up against these crimes and call out this, let me say, individuals, corporations, governments that fund such things and protect lives on Earth.
Yeah, exactly. Did you go to the COP20? Was it the one that was held in Dubai?
COP28?
Yeah, were you part of it?
Yes, I was in
because
Dubai.
What I'm feeling, you're talking about the share what they are doing. Yeah, it was quite a mock-up to climate advocates when they held it in Dubai, and you could just see how these people are reacting. You know, it was so heartbreaking. How did this make you feel, and how did you, as a person who is dealing with the same?
I think COPs are quite controversial as well. This year, COP29 is also in an oil state, which is also another shocker, but not shocker. But
I think they didn't learn from, they didn't learn from the previous,
It's a whole politicking thing, but if you want the conspiracies, for me, because we can't bite the hands. We can't bite the hands that feed us. You know, they're oil people, so they have the money.
Yeah, the money.
So anyways, it's quite difficult, but being there was very controversial as well. I went to one plenary specifically, and a huge country, which is a huge polluter as well, was let me say mocking what other small states are doing. You know, there are countries like the island states in the Pacific, which are drowning, literally. The people are dying. And in Kenya, we saw the same thing during this year. So some countries go to COP to fight for life or death for their people. And there are countries that just go there to mock that by, selling oil or negotiating for money. Like the plenary I walked in, they were arguing about punctuation. Like, the people who are dying and you're thinking about commas. And it was not those definitive commas before you come. It was just a punctuational comma. And you're just like, wow. Anyways, COPs are very controversial, but the reason we continue to go is because you meet people in the grassroots who are doing amazing work, and you get to partner with them, and change comes from the grassroots upwards.
How long have this organization been in place?
So Stop Ecocide International has been in place since 2017, and it's been doing a lot of lobbying. We also have the youth wing, that's Youth for Ecocide Law, which I head, and we advocate for the youth side. The numbers in the youth, the voices you can't ignore them.
Definitely. The majority actually. Also.
And we see how youth reforms, if they say no, then
it's a no.
So if we want something as big as Ecocide to pass, of course you have to involve the youth. And something which is amazing as of whenever you listen to this happened in September of 2024. The bill of Ecocide was finally tabled in the ICC formally. And that took like 8 years of lobbying, because it's a lot of advocacy work with the states. It's a whole diplomatic and international law process. But the first foot is in. So
at least it has gotten to that particular level.
All countries will have to recognize ecocide as a crime in their jurisdictions.
And because we are trying to stop ecocide, and it has gotten the first step into the ICC. Can you tell us which are some of these laws that are in place that are supposed to be implemented, or you are pushing for
under ecocide? Well, ecocide is huge, of course, and the lawyers that will discuss this in the ICC will now have to will have the task to determine what acts are ecocide. So is cutting 10,000 trees ecocide, or is it 500? It's quite a delicate balance of law and diplomacy as well. But of course, there are things that are obvious, like oil spillages, deep sea mining, deforestation, mass deforestation. We have also works we're doing with indigenous peoples. Like all these things, of course, will have to fall under ecocide, but the magnitude is what is up for debate as of now.
About the mass, You're talking about masses, even in terms of how much you cut off trees, And you have seen two countries in Africa, one Namibia, and now I've seen Zimbabwe. They want to kill animals so that they can be able to feed the people. Do you think this is the proper way that people need to go, or is it the last option that is there? Because according to the statement by the Namibian government, you can really feel the pain. They're saying like they have no other option. They feel like this is the last option, which is part of ecocide. You're killing the economy, you're killing the animals which are supposed to be part of our ecosystem. How does this make you feel, and do you think this is the last viable option that is left?
Well, that's pretty sad to hear that human beings have to resort to that as a last option for survival of their people, which is sad. However, I don't think when it comes to life or death of people, you can't quite suggest what is liable or what is not. So if killing animals is what is liable, which is very sad. However, when you talk about Zimbabwe and Namibia, those are desertic regions of Africa. And we cannot fully say that other regions of the world that desertic have killed their animals to survive. The Middle East is a desert, but they're thriving. So what is it that they're not doing that they can do? A huge thing is also about the financial capacity. We can't compare Dubai and Namibia in terms of finances.
Outside podcasting,
you can get my cut out. So I think borrowing a leaf from the countries that have, greened deserts, used water sustainably to grow, vegetables and stuff. We also have the same problem in Kenya anyway. In Turkana we have the same crisis, but it never gets to a point where we have to kill our animals. So I think borrowing a leaf from countries that are in similar situations might be a solution. But immediately, I think if you're dying of hunger, kill the antelope.
So of course, I understand that they have very good meat, but I've noticed anybody. I understand. I'm not advocating for you to go now go look for an antelope and taste, but you're not in Namibia, yeah. But because I also love Indians, how they do. No, Indians don't eat meat. They usually eat
why not? Grow beans.
So I'm like, I haven't noticed that particular point. But away from that, yeah, you're talking about ecocide, yeah, to save the environment, not killing our ecosystem. Yeah, and you have said that you have implemented some policies and pushed some policies in the ICC, yeah. But I've heard you talking about trees. Have you done also the same to protect the animals?
What do you mean? Ecocide?
The ecosystem, yeah. This is ecocide,
yeah.
It's a whole ecosystem, and the ecosystem is not only trees, it's trees, animals, water. And everything in between, yeah. Have you put up policies to ensure that also the animals are protected in the ecosystem when you're pushing for the legal laws on the ICC?
Yeah, I don't think we have like a fully fully fledged focus on animals as of now. We deal with forests, peoples, oceans, but that's a good thing. I think that's a really
it's something that we should really be considering.
My boss.
Yeah.
But that's really true because ecosystems are delicate and the animals are part of those ecosystems. I know in Tanzania they're having a whole war on elephants, which is a delicate ecosystem. Their numbers are depleting, so I think we should think of that.
It's something that we should all consider, yeah, because it's okay, but yeah. Oh, I know you got the point. Yeah. It's talking ecocide. Yeah, it's improvisation. I don't know. Yeah, so yeah, that's the whole point. But what I'm saying is that we need also to consider our animals, but also we have like a controversy in between that, because when you look at because as much as we are trying to make laws, we are also trying to ensure that we have our culture and traditions as Africans are still intact. Yeah. For example, like here in Kenya, if you look at the Mau forest, it has been a issue that has been going for a long time. I don't know if you have been following up on it, the Dick community and the Mau people, because for them they argue out. We have lived in the forest from way back. It has been our ancestral land, and they have not been cutting trees. They have been ensuring that the ecosystem is there, because it's a system. We learned this in high school. It's a food chain. Lions have to eat antelopes have to eat grass. It's a whole system to make sure that we have the balance. But now if you look at the Mau forest, humans used to live there and they used to take care of the forest as their home. But right now you're telling them now to move out of the forest because you want to preserve the place, and they used to live peacefully with the people and the animals. How does this make you feel?
First of all, as a tree planter, that thing makes me really mad, because the communities that lived in the forest are the ones that took care of the forest, and we have so many examples, especially the Amazon. There
are still communities. I understand even there are some communities that have not yet been discovered. There might be.
The ecosystems have been intact because they were there. So when you take them out, it's not fair to them and the ecosystem as well. And also as tree planting, because there's so many techniques that we learn from indigenous people. They, the way weeds grow in the forest, they have a technique that can burn the weeds and not the trees. Like, it's amazing the works that indigenous people do, indigenous forest communities do. So this matter of them having to live where they have actually tended for that environment is wrong, as I say. And I think a lot of it is quite political because of carbon credits. But that needs to stop. It needs to stop. They need to be there for that forest to survive.
And actually, if you look at, since urbanization came and man started realizing technology, that's when our forests have been destroyed. And you have a bus that is passing, so can also be saying, but what I'm saying is that
with no brakes.
So what I'm saying is that way before, our ecosystem was more intact than when even urbanization came and when you started telling people to leave the forest and everything. So we should also ensure that even if urbanization is coming, there should be like proper mechanism to ensure that we also support our ecosystem. Look at Uhuru Park. Have you seen it of late? I feel like you are tricked. Or don't you feel the same? Have you gone to Uhuru Park?
I've seen the infrastructure.
Have you seen it? It was divided by two, and then they were like, we want to make this one to be, a smart place people can come relaxing, and it has never been open today. And I'm wondering, kwani mlikuwa mnatengenezea kina nani? You know, it makes me really wonder. And the other half now, barabara zikajengwa. So climate advocates, I hope you are listening, because this is a issue that we are going to one time, you know, people are going to make sense out of it, because iligawanishwa mara mbili, and then one part was ikatengenezwa barabara, and people didn't realize the way it was done. It was so small. And this that shows how urbanization is coming. It's destroying our ecosystem.
Yeah, actually, to have a point in is the same thing with the expressway. There were like 250,000 indigenous trees that were cut. And you know, I don't think people understand that you can't replace a tree.
You can't.
A tree that's been there for 100 years, you can't replace it. It's gone and it's gone. So when we cut down indigenous trees that are worth hundreds of years, it will take the same hundreds of years to grow them. And we don't have that time. We're only 5 years away from 2030, which is like our time bomb. So the whole thing, I was reading a whole study as well on the effect of the expressway on the birds. You know, the birds that lived in those forests.
Especially the big birds.
Even the big birds at the roundabout, Nyayo roundabout. The expressway destroyed their homes. So I don't think urbanization is, we should just walk on the pavement. We don't need these roads if it kills our ecosystems. But yeah, I think urbanization also needs a lot of environmental scientists inside to advise.
As ecocide, so have you looked into this, and how are you trying to ensure that there is a balance of these, of our people are developing at the same time we are still ensuring that we have an we have a proper ecosystem?
Well, I don't think we're doing that at Stop Ecocide, because at Stop Ecocide we're just lawyers. But that can be something on my side personally as an ecosystem restorer. So I think there needs to be more consultation as well. And there was also a lot of reports and science done on the expressway as well on the effects of the cars that pass there in terms of air pollution. They actually have worse air pollution than the cars that pass.
Because they are above? Or is it fun?
No, actually, it's a whole thing. And I was so shocked it's a scientific study.
Take us through.
The cars that use the regular roads are like buses, you know, the regular thing, and they always break down. So they have constant like repairs and oil changes, service. So their oil and their emissions, the gas emissions is cleaner. The guys that pass there, their cars are new. They never have technical problems. So they hardly visit the garage. They hardly have oil changes, so the pollution is worse. And when it's passing up there, there's the birds, there's the trees up there, so the pollution is twice as much.
I can imagine those big birds that you're talking about, because if you go there at Nya, you're going to see the trees are almost the same size as the expressway. So these birds, I don't think now they have like the same life that they used to have when the expressway was not there. Every morning now they're like, I can only imagine how, you know, the early bird, how they used to wake up in the morning.
So now they have none of that.
They're being woken up by cars.
And stuff.
I'm the one who's supposed to make that noise. Some things are just Pandora boxes. You think we're, you know, solving one thing, but we're creating problems for generations to come. The same thing we're trying to do, if I may divert as well, at Ecocide. There's a whole Pandora's box, which I also try to speak a lot about on green energy. Everyone's talking about green energy will be the solution to fossil fuels, but it's a lie. How is it a lie? And I'm part of those advocating for electric cars. Educate me.
So green energy needs a certain number of minerals, specific minerals. For example, the EV batteries require a lot of cobalt, and the single landmass deposit of cobalt in the world is found in Congo.
Of course.
A huge chunk of it, 50 million, whatever, is found in Congo. So what does that mean for Congo? There will be massive extraction of that mineral. They will dig up the whole forest. And that's ecocide as well. So we will not be fixing one problem with others. So if we take out all the carbon sinks and replace it with things that don't restore that ecosystem, then we're not solving the the climate change crisis. We're actually taking out the trees that help with that, and we're replacing them with car batteries that are single-use. Single-use batteries, because they're not renewable. The lithium batteries, you can't use them again after a few years. So they'll need to be constant mining.
Disposal is, I think it's quite hard to dispose.
And it's quite hard and hazardous. To destroy those things would also cause a lot of greenhouse gas emissions. So it's quite a Pandora's box. I don't think green energy is the solution. I think building more carbon sinks would be a solution, and I'm more for renewable energy than green energy. Of course, I know we can't run cars on wind or solar, but
they can run on solar.
But solar we can try.
Yeah, solar you can try.
But yeah, the whole green energy thing needs to be thought about carefully as well.
Yeah. And as a lawyer, because you highlighted that you're a lawyer and you're more of, in terms of lawyers are more into policies. Yeah. Have you tried to negotiate some of the policies that can be put in place to ensure that now these electric cars and the batteries are well managed and well disposed? And because these are some of the things that we have to think of when you are bringing in this particular point of we need car batteries, we need cars that are eco-friendly. We also need to think of how we are going to dispose them, how the aftermath of it. Yeah. Have you also tried to ensure that there are policies that will ensure that we have a clean ecosystem in terms of the green gas emissions?
Yeah, so that's a whole analogy of the just transition with the impacts on what it will have on communities across the world. So ideally, most of the used cars, even up to now, where do they come? They come to Africa.
Yeah, exactly.
So there's a lot of energy in my heart, let me say, that comes towards Ecocide in Africa, because we have a whole youth wing actually that's specifically focused on Africa. So the whole just transition will also impact Africa in terms of not only the mining aspect and the climate change issue, but also the disposal of those batteries. And used cars, they'll always end up in our markets. So having policies that will regulate the amount of those cars coming into Africa is something being talked about. I know Ethiopia has actually banned the import of fossil fuel cars. That's on fossil fuel, but it's an example of a policy that's already being implemented in an African country on the regulation of what garbage comes in here and how to handle it. But it's a whole discussion.
That's amazing. But I think we have a long way to go before that particular happens. Yeah. But I really appreciate that the efforts that are maybe there. Yeah, that to ensure that our president is very vocal. I was talking to a Cameroonian there, and they were like, I love how your president is pushing for this climate advocacy and everything. Maybe, okay, I don't know if total lies, but whatever happens, but at least, if he lies, but at least, whatever happens, at least he's showing the world that, this is a proper place to invest in, and seeing that, in such forums, the Agriculture Africa Climate Summit is also held in Kenya. It all shows that at least Kenya is trying to make a stride towards climate advocacy. But tukimaliza hapo juu tuka corruption hapo pesa ifike kwa ground itakuwa poa sana. But at least it's a step toward a greater place and a healthier place. Yeah, that's
true. Actually, Kenya was the first African country to start tabling the bill of ecocide. So ideally on climate we're really good. We have our own Wangari Maathai, so we cannot let her down.
We cannot definitely let her, and that starts with the Uhuru Park. Uhuru Park, yani watu wafunike tu macho wana vilikatwa. I don't know why it has been chopped. Yani it has been chopped. Now, if you don't talk, they are going to chop another piece, and then I say, you want to modernize it? Let's put a border here so that we can modernize it. Wajenge hiyo. That's how we are going to finish our place. Right now, people don't have a place to go and relax and hold conversations.
By the way, Wangari Maathai really fought for that place. If you read her book, you'll see how she was slapped and beaten up for that park. So don't be silent.
We even have monuments that celebrate her in that park. So it's really a space that we really need to look into and to make sure that it still survives and doesn't run away. Because wataenda tu watuambia acha sasa tubakishe hii nyingine hii side nyingine City Park wafanye kitu. The government too. But it was an amazing Derby having you. You're doing an amazing work in terms of stopping ecocide. We protect the earth. And I really hope you're going to join us as Team Environment. Because now you're part of our team. You're part of our team. Tree planters.
Anyway, what are the odds that you'd actually bump into another podcaster? I'm a podcaster.
Yeah, exactly. She's also a podcaster. So if you want to have more information and get to know and more details about ecocide, make sure you visit our platform. You can tell us your social media platforms.
So my podcast is everywhere. It's on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, YouTube Podcasts. It's called Flight Over Nature's View. It's just a climate centered podcast, and it's 20 minutes long and it has 30 episodes. So 20-30.
Nice one.
I thought before I developed it was smart.
Wow, smart girl over there, manze. But it has been an amazing podcast, manze. It has been an amazing session. It was really nice meeting you, Derby. Continue with the great work you're doing, manze. Na asanteni wa na sauti for always being part of us and always supporting us. So make sure you go on that particular channel, on her channel. Make sure you go, you comment, talk about keep the conversation going, because that is what we are here to do, to keep the conversation going. My beautiful name is Shadow Collins Songoi. It has been an amazing podcast. Adios, muchachos. Peace out.
Hola.
Hola.